It's a miracle, unthinkable, no playing. He is when my heart is nothing short of amazing. With the faith on fire out on the waves I'm staying, and I'm not playing. Through it all, I know my God is real. Through it all, He proved it, and I knew it. You move in mystery, it's way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. It's more than magic. It's more than magic. I'm talking about Alpha, Omega, beginning and the end. There's nobody higher, none greater. I never got again, 'cause through it all, He put my scars to use. Through it all, He proved it, and I knew it. You move in mystery, it's way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. It's more than magic. It's more than magic. Just tricks and move your feet. Hands high one time while you ride the beat. Introducing the man that's beside of me. Don't blow. What up? Don't ride the beat.
Abracadabra, now you see me, now you don't. No mind can fathom the endless pattern of perfect love. Many have come, many have gone, but I know you won't disappear on me. You are the king of deck of cards, and from your hand my cards have been dealt. Swimming in major drip like my name Michael Phelps. They be asking me, are these magic things? Nah, actually this is majesty.
You move in mystery, it's way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. You move in mystery, it's way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. It's more than magic. Yeah, it's more than magic. Come on, it's more than magic. It's more than magic.
Above all distraction, above every doubt, you have my attention here right now. Love from the outset, yours from the start. You broke through the darkness to have my heart. I'm lost to the world, in you forever. Found in a love that never fades, in a hope that never sways. You'll never let go. This love is wild, wild. You got me reaching for the sky. Now I'm spinning over why you'll never let go. This love is wild, wild. This love is wild, wild. This love is wild, wild. We're breaking the silence with heavenly sound, louder than thunder, shaking the ground. When fear comes to find me, I will be found. Here in your presence, your freedom is now. I'm lost to the world, in you forever. Found in a is wild, wild. In a love that never fades, in a hope that never sways. You'll never let go. This love is wild, wild. You got me reaching for the sky. Now I'm spinning over why. You'll never let go. This love is wild.
Alright guys, welcome. This week we are doing something called Box of Lies.
So you guys might have seen this on another program, but it's ours now. We've officially rebranded
We're gonna
it.
use it.
We used a completely new scientific design of a windshield, but we have two random items that are kind of weird and crazy, but we have to describe the item that we have to the other person. However, we could also describe an item that's not actually here, and David is going to have to guess if I'm telling the truth about what I have on my table, or if I'm just lying about it. So we're going to go one at a time. I think David should go ahead and start us off.
Okay. I'm going to start with this item. It's rather heavy. At least that's what I want Josiah to believe. Or maybe that's the truth. We'll see. Alright.
Go ahead and show it to the camera.
So you guys can see what we have going on here. Right here. You see that? Well, they might not. You might not believe what I got here.
I don't think it's heavy by the way you're handling it.
Very heavy. Very heavy.
Okay.
Well, I have a object that is of the sea.
Let's see.
It is something that has sharp teeth. But see, those teeth are being used to eat a trophy. And that object is also wearing socks.
So like a shark with socks eating a trophy. Is that what you're telling me you're holding?
What if I told you they were red, white, and blue socks?
Okay. I think I'm gonna have to say you're telling the truth just because of America. You know?
Because America?
America. The red, white, and blue. Yes!
Shark eating
It is
a
a shark
trophy.
with America
with
socks.
Red, white, and blue socks.
Eating a trophy. Interesting. I'm gonna reorganize my order of items. I'll start off with my favorite one of the night. Hopefully you guys can see what is going on here. You probably don't understand it yet, but I'll describe it in a minute. Here you go. It's beautiful, isn't it? So currently, in front of me, I have Yoda in a lightsaber duel with Yoda on a sea of canola oil. However, to watch the match, R2-D2, a kiwi, a Tic Tacs container, and a snowman Pez dispenser are watching the duel on the sea of canola oil. Yes. And the world is flat, and it is a cubby crate. It's a little diorama.
That is way too specific. You have to be telling the truth.
I spent too much time on this. I figured out 3 people to be watching, and then I saw the little kiwi bag with the face on it, with the kiwi, and I was like, let's make a kiwi be watching too. That's just an interesting twist.
This is what we got. Appreciate its beauty.
I'm gonna look at the reaction of you guys and see what he's holding.
Appreciate its beauty. All right. So what we have here is you know that guy from what movie is it? The Incredibles. The Ice Powers?
Frozo?
Yes, Frozone.
Where's my super suit?
Exactly. Imagine him,
Yeah.
but inside a ball.
Like hamster Frozo.
But he his arms are actually Nerf darts.
I'm just trying to grasp this all. How? I don't think you could have gotten a hamster ball, put Frozo in it with his arms as Nerf darts, and what was the other thing? Arms as Nerf darts, and he's in a hamster ball.
I think that was it.
That was it.
I'm pretty sure that was it.
That was it. I mean, I guess it is possible. That just takes effort, you know? How long have you been working on this, David? I'm gonna have to say you're telling the truth.
You think I'm telling the truth?
Yes.
Granted, remember, we only came up with this idea yesterday.
I still think you're telling the truth. It's something you would do. Yes! I told
Not a
you.
hamster ball.
Not a hamster ball, but he technically his base is inside of a tennis ball. So
He's inside a tennis ball.
Frozo with Nerf arms. Alright. Now, time for my next item. This one's pretty interesting.
Okay.
I think you'll enjoy this one. Audience, take a look. It's pretty elaborate. I spent a lot of time on this one. Alright, so this item,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bobblehead.
It's a bobblehead.
Yes. It is a bobblehead of John Stamos dabbing on a skateboard, and Goofy is on his back.
John Stamos
Yes.
as a bobblehead.
Yes.
Okay, I believe that exists.
Okay, yeah.
But him dabbing, I don't believe that exists.
It's called
with,
Photoshop, David.
with Goofy on his back.
It's not necessarily an image of John Stamos dabbing with Goofy on his back. There's a Goofy on the back of the bobblehead.
And he's on a skateboard.
Yes, like one of the what are they called? You know the little skate parks that you can buy that like fold up into like a tractor or like a suitcase? What are they called? Oh, I used to play with those all the time, where you get the little characters and their feet have
Joe,
feet have
Joe, I'll
magnets.
save you a little bit of time.
Okay.
You lie. It's a brick. It's a brick.
Figured the first one was so elaborate, you'd think I got super elaborate with the second one too. And
All right, we have a bonus.
yes, a bonus
We
one.
have a bonus.
Wait, okay, first, before we get into the bonus, I've guessed that you were right. I've gotten one right?
Yes.
You have gotten
Two.
two. Yes, you have gotten two correct. So if I get this one, we end in a tie, which is lame. But
You're right. All right. So this object
yes, I already know what it is.
You already know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send my description to you.
Just touch the box. The box has magic powers. Yep. Boom. I already saw it.
All right. So this object,
Yes.
for the people at home,
I can even do this with my eyes closed. I don't even have to see your facial expressions.
okay?
I know. The box told me.
Well, this is a giraffe made out of erasers, duct taped to post-it notes.
Giraffe made out of erasers. Duct taped to post. You know, David, I'm gonna say you're lying. That's not duct. Where's the duct tape? Okay, fine. All right, I guess I lose.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
I was gonna say you were telling the truth because I saw the duct tape in your backpack earlier, but I was like, no, maybe he just thought of the duct tape because he saw it like 5 minutes ago. Something to come
Well, I
up
got
with
you.
fast.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. It was a lot of fun. We'll be cutting back in about now to the message. See you later.
Does anyone else remember when we were kids and we sang that good old song in kids' church that went like this? He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. I still believe that God still has the world in his hands. Let me tell you why I believe that with a story. One of the most dramatic moments in entire human history took place in what has been described as the upper room. Jesus and his men had gathered for the Passover meal, an annual meal Jewish families gathered to eat to commemorate the night before the morning when the nation would be freed from Egyptian captivity. It was a meal eaten to remember God's faithfulness after 400 years of seeming faithless. And guys, let me tell you, those 400 years were not good at all. 400 years during which the Jewish people lived as slaves, but eventually they became a nation. 400 years of unanswered prayer, 400 years of harsh treatment, but at last, God had sent a deliverer. You know what his name is? Moses. He stood up to the most powerful man on the planet at that time, Pharaoh, and demanded that he let the people of God go free. Now, 1,400 years later, Jesus is gathered with his disciples to commemorate that historic event. But the disciples are a bit distracted. Things are not going well. Their popularity has diminished. They noted that Jesus did not enter Jerusalem by day, but instead he stayed in the countryside until the sun had set before entering. There was secrecy around where they would meet that night. Jesus hadn't even told them yet, and understandably so. They knew that there was a movement happening to have Jesus arrested. He kept talking about his death, and Judas was acting very strangely. The certainty that they had grown accustomed to was now gone. Now there are more questions than answers. And as they gathered for their annual feast, things got even crazier. Why don't you go ahead and read with me in Mark 14. Verse 17 starts us off by saying, "When evening came, Jesus arrived with the 12. They were reclining at the table eating. He said, 'Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me.'" Since Jesus was rarely wrong, this didn't come as good news. One who is eating with me. They were saddened by this, and one by one they said to him, "Surely not I, Lord." But nobody asked, "What do you mean?" or "To who?" They knew. They were just hoping it wasn't really going to happen. They knew the moment they heard he was headed to Jerusalem. It was as if he had given up, like he was walking into a trap. Verse 20 says, "It is one of the 12, he replied, one who dips bread into the bowl with me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." Most of what we find in the scriptures was written in environments of extreme uncertainty. This book is not filled with feel-good messages for a world we don't live in. Here we find God active and speaking directly into uncertain times. Let me give you a few examples. Joseph. Joseph listened in as his brothers debated whether to sell him or to kill him. And we discover that God was with him. King David was awakened one morning to the rumor that his own son was conspiring against him. A frightened mother wrapped her baby in a blanket and put him in a basket so that Egyptian soldiers would not kill him. Years later, another mother flees her home with her newborn son to escape the sword of Herod. The Apostle Paul, for instance, thought God had called him, but found himself in a Roman prison. Yet he writes to us still about what to do when God's promises don't seem to be coming true. Over and over and over again, people are caught in uncertain times. But the Bible, this is the perfect place to come to in times of uncertainty. The Bible is filled with stories of people facing uncertainty and discovering that not only is God not absent, He is often diligently at work, accomplishing His will in this world and in the lives of those He loves. We are reminded that God still has the world in His hands. We are challenged to trust Him when it's hard to find Him or even understand Him. The story continues. Because we know the end of the story, the next few words have an extraordinary significance to us. But they are completely lost to the 12 because of the situation that they are currently in. Verse 22 says, "While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when He had given thanks, He broke it and gave it to His disciples, saying, 'Take it, this is my body.' Then He took the cup, and when He had given thanks, He gave it to them, and they all drank from it. 'This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many,' He said to them." The blood of the covenant. He foreshadows the event that will be celebrated for 2,000 years. Buildings are built because of this event. Wars are fought. A worldwide movement begun. God is about to make His move on behalf of the world. But everything seems to be moving backwards and getting worse. As they are leaving, the news gets worse. Verse 27 says, "You will all fall away," Jesus told them, "for it is written, 'I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered.' But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Now He refers to the event that will change everything. But it's too dark for them to see or to find hope. So, Peter speaks for all of us. Here's what he says in verse 29. Peter declared, "Even if all fall away, I will not." Peter was thinking, I don't like this plan, and I'm going to do something about it. But in the end, he was the most humiliated of them all. He fell away in the most humiliating fashion. Here's the question we must each answer for ourselves as we face our personal and our national uncertainty. Is it possible that God is still active and still accomplishing His purposes when there is no indication of His activity? Is He active in your world and in the world? When everything seems to be going backwards, dark. Your answer to that question will determine your response to your current uncertainty. I think if we were to interview the disciples and ask them about their darkest hours, they would have been the hours that began here. Yet, there's another part. If we were to ask them with the clarity of hindsight, when did God accomplish His greatest work? It would have been in the very same hours. God does great things in your times of uncertainty. This was the beginning of 3 days of utter despair for the disciples. This was the culmination of God's plan of redemption. When life is uncertain, God is not. He has still got the whole world in His hands. Good things come from broken things. When we can see that God is behind or in or working through the undesirable circumstances, even the ones we bring on ourselves, there is a sense of purpose and peace that emerges. Now, that feeling of hope won't keep me in school, it won't give me new friends or make things instantly perfect. It won't. But it will allow you to maintain hope and faith in the meantime. It will allow you to go to bed at night with the confidence that God has not abandoned you. It will motivate you to be on the lookout for His grace and intervention. It will keep you from leaning in the directions that only make things worse. It will protect you from despair. Always remember this: when life is uncertain, God is not. He has still got the whole world in His hands.
Hey guys, let's pray. God, just thank you for letting us come together this evening and just realize that you have the whole world in your hands. Sometimes it's so easy for us to forget that. We get so caught up in everything going on around us. But see, right now, the world's slowed down. We're seeing things we haven't seen in a long time. We're able to focus. God, help us to take that focus and focus on you, the mission you've set out for, what you're trying to do through us, and how you're trying to remind us of the beauty surrounding us. Help us to seek you, to know you, and to know that we are loved and known. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be here again next week with another message. Pastor David's going to do that one. And another game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're really excited. Thank you guys. And again, we've talked about this the last couple weeks. We're going to put it up right here above my head, the prayer line. I'm going to come out of the shot a little bit so it doesn't look so weird. But if you have anything that you'd like prayer for, just text or call this number. If you call, leave a voicemail, and we'll try to get back with you. It's just a way for us to connect, a way for us to let you know that you're known, that you're heard, and that we're here for you, especially in this time of uncertainty and knowing that we're not able to connect in the same way. We want to find ways that we can connect with you. So if you need something, you need prayer, just call or text us and let us know, and we're going to try to help in any way that we can, and we'll definitely be praying for you.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. See you later.
See you later.
I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. It's more than magic. It's more than magic. I'm talking about Alpha, Omega, beginning and the end. There's nobody higher, none greater. I never got again, 'cause through